Welcome back to the Ryoko Show, where we talk about living authentically and creating the life you truly love. I'm Ryoko. Today's episode, I want to share a special conversation I had with Jack Canfield, America's #1 success coach, co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and the author of the Success Principles. Jack has been my mentor during some of the toughest time when I felt stuck in life during the pandemic. His principles helped me shift my mindset, take responsibility, and realize my power to create change. In this interview, I share my journey from breaking free of societal expectations while growing up in Japan to losing sight of who I was when I was seeking stability after immigrating to Canada, and finally reconnecting with my true self to create a life that's aligned and authentic. I also share some tools for building self-love and letting go of the stories that no longer serve you. I'm excited to share this conversation with you, so let's get started.
Hello and welcome to Talking About Success. I'm Jack Canfield, America's #1 success coach, chairman of the Canfield Training Group, and the author of numerous New York Times bestsellers, including the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and most recently, the Success Principles, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And today, I'd like to introduce you to Ryoko Fukui. Ryoko is a certified Success Principles trainer, transformational coach, and advocate for living an authentic life. Her journey began in junior high, where she challenged societal expectations in Japan in order to follow her passion for learning English and exploring the world. Moving to the United States and later immigrating to Canada, Ryoko embraced her love for languages and adventure, traveling through Latin America and studying Spanish. And despite initially prioritizing practicality over passion, Ryoko reached a turning point when she realized she was living out of alignment with her true self. This inspired her, this awakened her to leave a stable 9-to-5 job and dedicate her life to helping others reconnect with their innermost desires. And today, Ryoko empowers women in their 40s to rewrite their life stories, embrace self-love, and create lives filled with purpose and joy. And through her coaching, her workshops, and her commitment to authenticity, she inspires people all around the world to honor their unique paths and trust in their ability to transform their lives. Ryoko, I'm thrilled to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Jack. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here. Now, I'd love to start by having you share a little bit about your background and how you went against societal expectations in Japan to follow your dream of learning English and exploring the world. The mother of my grandson, I call her my daughter in love because they're not married, but nevertheless is Japanese. And I know how difficult and challenging what you did is given that Japanese culture. So talk about that. What was that like?
I started my career as an English teacher. In 2007, I moved to Canada. And from there, I backpacked in Latin America, worked in Mexico, and eventually I immigrated to Canada in 2012. When I was in junior high, I became a huge fan of New Kids on the Block, and their music inspired me to study English really hard. And their music videos opened my eyes to a new world beyond Japan. And that's when I decided, wow, I want to go to America and go to university to study English. But my mom was against my idea, but that didn't stop me. I worked part-time at a sushi restaurant to start saving money. And at that time, we didn't have internet, so it was very difficult to find university information. But I went to bookstores, and I even called American Embassy in my city for help. And eventually, I figured out how to apply for student visa and passport. And when international mails from university in the States started to arrive, my mom saw that I was so determined, and she finally agreed to support me financially. Going against societal expectation is not easy because growing up, we were expected to have good education, get a stable job, start a family, and have this secure life. But from young age, I didn't want that. I wanted freedom, and I didn't want to follow my path. So when I talked about my dream, people thought that I was crazy. And they thought that I was wasting my chance to go to a good university in Sapporo. But I was already in the States. In my mind, I was already living in the States, doing homestay with an American family, speaking English fluently, and having friends from all over the world. So what I learned is when you are committed to your dream and when you are passionate about your dream, things start to fall into place and somehow you find a way to make it happen.
So here you are, you're in Japan, you go against the societal norms, you basically break out, you go for your dream. And then if maybe 10 years later, something like that, you find yourself stuck again.
Yes,
right?
I did.
You're in this 9-to-5 corporate job.
Yes.
And you weren't being fulfilled. You didn't feel authentic. Tell us about that moment. And then you actually shifted again.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what that transition was like for you.
So I listened to this podcast episode where the guest speaker said, if you want to be comfortable with uncertainty, you need to understand that in life there is nothing that's certain. And that hit me. I was holding on to the job thinking that that job was certain and that would give me security. And if there is nothing that's secure, then I said, I want to go for my dream. But the problem was I didn't know what my dream was because I stayed in the job for my security and I forgot to dream. The more I searched, the more anxious I became because I really didn't know what to do with my life. And that's when I hit rock bottom. And every morning I woke up with no motivation, no sense of direction. And I felt like I made a mistake with my life. And I spent many days crying and I just couldn't see the way out. And in December 2022, when I woke up, I decided that I'm so tired of waking up every morning crying and feeling sorry for myself. So I thought maybe I should just stop looking for a job. I should go inside and see why I feel anxious about the future and why I can't see what I wanted to do. So I started to do meditation, practice yoga, and start journaling. In 2023 February, I found your online program, Breakthrough to Success. And in that program, I found this exercise where we list all the success in 3 different stages of life. And I remember when I was a high school student, I had this big dream to go to America, but I didn't have emotional support. I didn't know how to apply for university, and I didn't even speak English fluently. But I never gave up, and eventually I made it. So I reconnected with that high school self, and I told myself, if I could do that back then, I can do it again. And I started to take one step at a time, and slowly but surely, I made transition into becoming a transformational coach.
Good for you. So today you're coaching women and you've decided to focus on women in their 40s. Mm-hmm. Talk about why you chose that focus.
Well, we focus early years, juggling work, family, personal goals, and we take care of everyone else and we put their needs first. And we follow this path thinking that that's the right path and that will bring us happiness and fulfillment. And for some women, it works, but for some others, when we hit over 40, we realize that we push down our deepest desires, and then we start to wonder if there is more to life. And also life transitions like children growing up, leaving home, taking care of aging parents, and going through relationship challenges like divorce or loss of someone you love, bring up questions like, what is that I really want and what's next for me? Those are very challenging moments and it's very overwhelming to answer those questions. At the same time, those moments give us opportunities to pause, sit back and reconnect with what matters the most. And I understand how hard it is to go through that phase because I went there myself. I didn't know how to get out of that dark tunnel. I didn't have the mindset. I didn't have tools to overcome self-doubt and fear. So that's why I want to help women go through this stage of life so that they feel supported and they don't have to do it alone.
That's great. Very good. So when you're working with women, I know that I've seen it and I've seen it now showing up in a lot of people I talk to about people in general, women in particular, and then women in the stage of life you're talking about, where self-love, self-worth, self-deservability, you might say, is really a challenge for people. And there's a lot of like stories that they've learned to tell themselves, beliefs perhaps, that challenge all of that. And I know that it's not easy work to do. How do you help people move through that?
we are so hard on ourselves because we judge and criticize. So I help my clients see that all parts of themselves have shaped the person who they are. Mm-hmm. And I do this exercise where you list all the things that you judge about yourself and see the hidden gifts in them. And as they do this exercise, they start to see that, wow, I'm not that bad. And all the parts that they used to judge are the traits that make them unique. And this way they start to feel that it's okay to be who they are, just as they are. And same goes for life experiences. We judge, oh, I like this experience, but this shouldn't happen the way it did. And when we shift perspective and see the negative experiences as a process to grow and find the gifts in those negative experiences, we change the meaning that we attach to them. I stayed in this relationship that wasn't working for a long time, and I just couldn't end it because I was so scared to be by myself. And later, I judged and I blamed myself for not knowing better and why I couldn't just end it. But over time, I realized that that relationship taught me the importance of boundaries and how to be by myself and be okay with it. So it took me almost 10 years to rewrite the story, but now I'm very grateful for that experience that taught me emotional independence and the importance of boundaries.
That's great. Good for you. I think, and that's something, we don't teach that stuff in school, you have to kind of learn it either yourself by crying and self-introspection and doing the meditation you did and maybe reading books and taking courses. And so I just want to honor you for having the courage to do that. A lot of people don't. They drown out all that pain with alcohol, with drugs, with, distractions and so forth. So I'm glad that you can help people do that. I know you're writing a book this year. Mm-hmm. So talk about the book. What's the message you have? What do you hope it will do for people? Mm-hmm.
So the main message of this book is to reconnect with your authentic self and realign with who you truly are and what you desire. Let go of the old story and start creating a life that's true to you. When we are born with this innate sense of worthiness, and we were naturally curious and we knew exactly what we wanted. But as we grow up, we start to suppress our emotion and feelings and trying to fit in and meet expectation of others so that we can receive love. And as adults, without knowing, we repeat these patterns and we start telling ourselves that we are not good enough and we are the one who limit our own potential. So this book will guide readers to find who they are at core and recognize that they have unlimited potential and they can change their life no matter where they are. And in this book, I share this concept of Japanese pottery called kintsugi, which is a technique to repair broken potteries with gold. And this gold that they use is visible on the outside. And that shows that your imperfection and your experiences are those golds that shines, and it's very beautiful and unique.
I've seen some of those bowls. Yes. They're broken and then they put them back together and there's gold in the cracks.
Yes.
And they're even more beautiful than they were when they were just ceramics. So yes. That's a great metaphor. Yeah. Very cool.
So the vision of this book, I really want to create this ripple effect of personal awakening. There is nothing more empowering to realize that you have the power to create the life you want, and it doesn't matter where you are, and you can always start. So this is the reason why I decided to write a book.
Good. And you're writing this book in English, and then you're going to have it translated into Japanese?
Yes.
Or, to both?
Yes.
So speaking about that, I know you are passionate about taking the success principles to Japan.
Yes.
And I know it's another one of your missions. Talk about why that's important.
I'm so excited about bringing success principle to Japan because this is a proven system that helped so many people around the world. And in Japan, we have long life expectancy, but I think life is not just living long. Life is about living with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. And our culture values harmony, respect, and humility. And I think these are good values, but sometimes it makes it so hard for people to own their desire and honor their desire and go for what they want, because we are afraid of upsetting our family or friends, and we fear judgment, and we don't want to be too different from others. People in Japan, they have their dreams, but they are afraid of going after what they want. And I think that if they learn the success principles, they will see that it's okay to be who they are and honor what they want and go for what they want. And the reason why I think it's important is if more adults live a life that's fulfilling, and if they go out there and find a purpose, I think that will help younger generation to have a hope. And I want to create that ripple effect in Japan so that there is a hope in my country as well.
You talk about that, this importance of a ripple effect, the idea that when you live your life fully, it's kind of the wave that goes off of that empowers and inspires others to do the same. Yeah, that's very good. Before I ask you how people can get in touch with you, is there anything else you want to say? Any final message to people that you think is core to your message?
For a long time, I wanted to have freedom, and until recently, I didn't know what that freedom is. I thought that I wanted to have financial freedom, location freedom, but I learned that in Buddhism, freedom means to become a person you rely on. It's about trusting yourself and know that no matter what happens in life, you have everything you need inside you to overcome those challenges, and you are going to be okay. And when I learned this definition of freedom in Buddhism, I realized that that is the freedom I wanted. I want to become the person I can rely on so that I can weather the storm. And also, when I learned from you through success principles, I learned that the important thing in life is not to achieve all the goals that you want. Of course, those are great, but to become the person who can rebuild. So building that resiliency, building the muscle of resiliency is really important. And when I got stuck, I realized that I was just staying away. I was not taking risks because I was so afraid of making mistakes. But I realized that if I have this trust in myself, I know that I can create the life that I love. The reason why I like this ripple effect is I want my life to mean something. I just didn't want to exist. I want to make a difference, and I want to make an impact. That's why the ripple effect is so important, knowing that even though I don't meet all the people I touch, but knowing that I'm part of bigger change and lasting change is what really drives me.
That's great. That's great. Well, I really want to support you in all of that. My major in college was Asian history. And so I studied a lot about Japan and China and the Asian cultures. And I know some of the kind of constrictions that are there. And the freedom that you're talking about is so important for mental health, for creativity, for happiness, for joy, for not being sick and all that stuff. So I think you have a huge role to play in the future of all that. If people want to contact you to take advantage of your work, maybe your seminars, your book, maybe they want you to come speak to the organization, where do they go? How do they reach you?
Oh, they can come to my website, ryokofukui.com. And there I also have a gift for people who come to my website to learn simple 5 steps to create the life they love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. You're a wonderful beacon of hope and resilience and creativity and courage to follow your dream. And the more people that do that, the more people will do that. And what will happen is the world will start to work better. Because I believe, as you do, that everybody has within them part of the solution to the world's needs. And when we don't do that and don't follow that, then things don't happen that need to happen to make the world work. So thank you for being I'm going to say a foot soldier in the evolution of humanity.
Thank you, Jack. You really inspired me, and I'm so honored to be here, and I'm so happy I found your program and your book. Thank you so much, and I really want to carry on your legacy.
Well, I appreciate that. I need all the help I can get.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you for tuning in and joining us today as well. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Talking About Success, where I'll be interviewing another transformational leader who can help you live a healthier, happier, and more productive and fulfilling life. Until then, make sure to remember it's never too late to realign with your true self and create the life that you love.
Thank you so much for listening to the conversation I had with Jack Canfield. It means so much to me because Jack has been more than just a success coach. He's been a mentor who helped me change my mindset and take responsibility for my life and move forward with clarity and courage. He taught me to go beyond the fear, do the things that scared me, feeling the fear, and do it anyway. If this episode inspired you and you're ready to reconnect with your true self and create the life you want, please go to the show note and grab a free guide to transform your life. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends or whoever might be benefiting from this episode. Remember, you are never stuck unless you believe you are. You have the power to change and you deserve to live a life you love. Until next time, keep shining.